Hello, and welcome to our Microsoft Apex Security Hour webinar series. Isn't it amazing how quickly most of us have adapted to working from anywhere? Just like how you are watching this from the comfort of your home or your office. Anyway, we are happy that you are able to join us today for another insightful event where we share trends of tech updates, demos, stories, and more. So sit back, relax, and learn how Microsoft Security Solutions can help you protect, detect, and respond to threats and keep your organization secured. But before we kick off, here are some tips to optimize your webinar experience. On your current screen, you should see small widgets on our digital event console that you can expand, resize, or move around to best fit your screen. To your right, our Q&A widget allows you to ask questions and share your thoughts on topics being presented. Our experts are here to answer those questions throughout today's session, so feel free to leverage this function. To your left, you will see details such as tips, presentation slides, and more information about current session. Right below that, you can find out who is speaking in the session and connect with them on social medias. For additional resources, look into the resource list widget below this video to find out downloadable presentation deck and other related contents for future reference. If you know someone who could not attend this live event, be sure to let them know that this presentation is recorded and available on demand. You can visit our website via the link in the resource list to watch previous sessions on demand and register for future security webinars. So without further ado, let's get started.
Welcome to Microsoft Security Hour webinar. Today we are going to talk about how you can optimize your cybersecurity costs. Before I start my session, let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Erdal Ozkaya. Currently I work at Exitrium Cybersecurity as the CISO and Chief Cybersecurity Strategist. Besides that, I'm part of the community and I'm the president of the Global CISO Forum, which is totally community driven. And I have lots of certification, many books, which you can later check at my LinkedIn profile. Let's go straight to the topic. We all know things has changed. Cybersecurity is more important than anything ever. When we look back, we see that things are changing. First of all, COVID. Before COVID, workforce world was totally different. When nobody could imagine that we could be locked in our house for doing nothing. We locked ourselves just to be healthier. Of course, this brought some challenges. For example, I was during pandemic a CISO in a global bank, and people who had laptops were easily be able to connect, but we had some employees, they didn't have any laptops. And the show must go on. It couldn't because they were not allowed to come home. Even though when we fixed the laptop or workforce issues, the remote working issues, then we had some VPN connectivity issues because we didn't have enough licenses for all employees. Or I know some other CISOs who had challenges that they didn't have even completed their digital transformation, and as a result, they could not just continue to work. I mean, when you look at companies who completed the digital transformation journey, they had less issues. I'm pretty sure you see people in a coffee shop buying their coffee, having their headphones, with their laptops connected and working. There is nothing wrong with that as long as your environment is ready. But all this brought some other challenges. And those challenges are important to mention because those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. What do I mean? I mean, look, anybody can be hacked. There is two types of organizations. One, they learn from others' mistakes and implement the best practices Two, they just rely on who he said. So, when we look at the news, there were lots of companies hacked, from fortune companies to small businesses. Hackers don't choose any target. For them, anybody is welcome. From big banks to hotel chains, from big cybersecurity firms through a third-party supply chain attack to watch companies. They were all affected, from software firms to hardware firms. So, am I going to speak now one by one of what happened, how it happened? No. You as cybersecurity leader, manager, or IT professional, regardless of being developer or IT pro, we have to look into the details, because it's clear that the devil is hidden in the detail. So, while the world has changed with COVID, the way security works has also changed. It used to be easy. I had to drive to the office, swap my card, go to a secure building, park my car, swap my card, use the lift, go to my floor, sit down in my office. I had a great office. Then swap my card, turn on my laptop, and I was in a corporate network. Everything was taken care of for me. Today, is it the same? Right now, I'm at home. I am in New Jersey at Wayne, and my office is here in New York. I didn't even drive there. I'm doing this recording and this session with you guys, but I can remotely connect into it because I have all the necessary steps completed to be a good CISO at Exidium. But what if you don't do it? It's clear that we are all connected. The changes, it's clear, right? Like, you can work from anywhere. You can utilize the tools, the techniques, the best practices, the benefits of digital transformation, and complete your work everywhere. Many companies, including Microsoft, Exidium, Amazon, start to hire people they can work remotely. I mean, yes, I know those are technology companies, but I know even some banks start to hire remote forces. You see what's happened in Ukraine. People are in war, but while they're in war, some of them are still working through the technology. We all know that Elon Musk sent some satellites, give internet connectivity. We all know Microsoft is providing Ukraine threat intelligence and trying to protect the infrastructure. What I'm trying to say is, not only hackers are after your data, but also nation states. So you might be working in an organization which is government, and you might have some other challenges. One of the biggest challenge is, of course, technology, but second one is people. When we look in the industry, it's everywhere, in every news channel. There is a need of about 3.5 million qualified cyber workers. What does this mean? It means the job of security is either in wrong hands, or the people they do security are burned with their work schedule. This is based on IC Square, but again, not enough time for proper risk assessment and management is 30% of the other issues, which means you might take quick decisions without considering the consequences, which might create a likelihood of getting impact your organization. I think we all know patching is another issue. I want to go back to 2016-17, the first ransomware attack. Actually, that was not the very first ransomware attack, but it was the most popular ransomware attack, WannaCry. Yes, there was a nation-state organization which had some 0 days, which was using to do whatever. But more importantly, when Microsoft discovered this 0 day, they released a security patch. A patch which was closing this 0 day. Guess when the first WannaCry attack happened after this patch was released? Not 2 days, not 2 hours later, not 2 days later, not 2 weeks later, 2 months later, the first WannaCry attack hit. And thousands and thousands of PCs started to get infected, kidnapped. And today, nearly 6-7 years later of the first WannaCry attack, ransomware is still an issue, and this is because of patching. People are afraid to patch, at least 29% of it, based on IC square. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, people are all burned, they are unable to remain aware of all threats, and they deploy rashes. They deploy quickly without looking into details. And unfortunately, there is still a misconception that the more security tools you have, the more secure you are. As I said, there's a myth that you should not believe to. And now, is IC Square right? Let's verify this information. You can just download the Verizon Data Breach Report or IBM or Microsoft Digital Report or Exidium Threat Report. You know, there are many different reports that you can download for free. And when you look at the IC Square results and compare them with one of the best reports that I love, the Verizon Data Breach Report, you can easily see that the reported attacks had the exact same issues that it was in IC Square's report, which means work first is an issue. What else? As I talked about ransomware a few seconds ago, big organizations. You know, I think it was 2017 when I was writing my research, and that research I had a clause ending, it's still at my LinkedIn by the way, to pay or not to pay. You can go and read the results. Many people were complaining, you should not pay, nobody's ever gonna pay, because payment is not the right solution. Honestly, I agree. Payment is not the right solution. But then, how come? It was based on the news. A GPS watch manufacturing company, when they were demanded to pay $10 million, which they didn't, they negotiated to $4 million, had to pay. Or another big gaming company, which releases very popular sports games, they refused to pay. As a result, 750 gigabyte, I repeat, 750 gigabyte of the source code was released. So, to pay or not to pay? Of course not to pay and utilize this money in smarter ways. But how? And this is what we're going to talk today about, right? So this is coming next. So when we look at ransomware, when you look at numbers, and this is based off CISO analysis, okay? The total cryptocurrency received went down, okay? But more importantly, the average ransomware payment size went up. What does this mean? It means hackers honestly don't care how they receive their payments. All what they care is to receive payments. And more companies are getting victims of that. But what can you do? What should you do? First of all, this is what's happening right now in the security market. We have some challenges in our modern workplace. What are they? Of course, cyber attacks. But what else? You as a security leader, manager, IT pro, developer, whatever you are, you listening to this webinar, what challenges do you see? I mean, I just mentioned I have more than 17-18 books. I'm an author of current Microsoft Cybersecurity certifications. So what am I after that? What do I write in my books? What do I teach, or what do I expect you to know in a Microsoft MCP exam to know so you can pass the exam? Of course, I'm expecting you to know what's happening in the world. It's clear. Security is not easy. Infrastructures are complex. You know, everybody, including myself, I'm gonna say use the zero trust. Yeah, use zero trust, but how easy to deploy? Move to the cloud. Yes, move to the cloud. Honestly, you're gonna see it end of my presentation in the recommendations. But what if you have a challenge with your regulator? Your regulator does not allow you to move to the cloud. Or what if you don't have the budget? Or what if you're still scared of the cloud? Of course, we will talk all about this, but it's clear that things are complex. So complex that having a hybrid environment can create some complexity in reality, which is not. So you look at the details, you design a beautiful security architecture, but do you consider threats? Do you consider integrity loss? Do you consider, again, availability, which means threats and more threats? Are you checking your logs? Do you do protection against DOS or DDoS attacks? How can you ensure you don't have data leakage? Do you have EOP? Do you consider credential thefts? So, expanding complexity is there. And doesn't matter if you have your own data center or utilize, for example, Microsoft Azure in a hybrid environment. There is two clear points. One, current networks sustain modern business, won't sustain modern business. Two, the attack surface has broken all security rules. Is this Microsoft fault or Azure's or Alibaba's fault, or is it your fault? Or is it together? Let's look into this. So what do we have to do? It's clear there is hackers, attackers, threat actors, whatever you want to call them. It is very clear that there is a workforce issue, qualified employees, and there is some budget issues, which is also clear. But is this the case? I mean, when you look at some Fortune companies which have enormous security budgets, an allied security analyst, such as FireEye, it was on the news, they might be a victim of a supply chain attack, oil ring. And when you look at the details again, the ex-CEO might blame an intern for having password which is SolarWinds123. I mean, when you look at the CEO, yes, very successful businessman, SolarWinds is one of the greatest companies, but not hiring the right cybersecurity professional, CISO, which blocks such a simple password or which do not implement MFA, of course, is responsible. And blaming an intern, in my opinion, is not the right thing. So it's not just companies with less budgets do get hacked, but there are also companies get hacked with lots of money. Alright, what are the challenges, Dr. Ozkaya? Stop it and tell me. I mean, I'm a CISO and I'm the president of a global CISO forum which has more than 3,000 members in. And one of the biggest concern for people like me is the modern workplace is leading concern. Why? There is no culture. First thing we have to do is create a cybersecurity culture. Yes, for that you might have to work with HR, with some external vendors. I don't know, I don't care. But what you have to do is you have to ensure that you maintain control surfaces, and we have to create security having CIA in mind. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. For that, we have to create a culture that everybody helps you to contribute to be secure. This includes from a cleaner to the CEO. You should know how to respond to incidents. For that, you have to have an incident response plan. You should know if a cleaner sees some documents in the desk, you should have a clear desk policy. Or now people work from home. They should know that they should not do funky business with the person with the work laptop um, in their personal time. Because one thing is very clear. Security is not achieved. It is practiced. And, even though it is practice makes permanent. Unfortunately not perfect. Over a long time, the likelihood of an event will always rise. So there is no 100% security, and that's why you have to set up the right expectations for your board and of course the executive. Let me give you a non-technical example. If you know I'm just about to hit you, you will protect yourself, right? So if you know there's 2,000 organizations, why not assume that you can get breached any second? So have the assume breach mentality. And don't forget, no matter what technology you have, people are still the most commonly targeted attack surface. Most of the attacks still starts with phishing. Simple phishing. So what you need to do, first of all, you have to look as a cybersecurity leader where you need to focus. You have a concern, yes, but how can you control the concern? By influencing it. How? By creating a control. How? Look where your concern area is. Okay, I can get hacked. Why? Because my employees click on everything. So why not use phishing simulation? I have a concern, I can get hacked. Why not use a proactive approach? Call, for example, Microsoft cybersecurity team, do a cybersecurity risk assessment and see where you stand to. Or still not, do you use EDR, XDR? Do you use SIM such as Azure Sentinel? Or do you use, if you don't have money for XEDR, there is a free open source one. Use the open source one and see the benefits. Then maybe you can move to a complete product suite which Microsoft offers or another security vendor offers. It all depends on what you use, how you use. But there's one thing for sure. You have to finish the time and energy, and you have to focus on the right thing. You have to focus on your weak areas to protect your organizations. And it all starts with yourself. Okay, Dr. Ozkaya, good, but I have money issues. Can you please recommend me how I can optimize my dollar? Sure, let me give you some recommendations. First of all, I have to go a step back. You have to you have to be aware of your security gaps. And without increasing your effectiveness in the first place, you cannot, doesn't matter how much money you have, you cannot secure your organization. Cost reduction. I mean, this is good in everything. Doesn't matter what you do. Cybersecurity, IT, CFO, shopping from your favorite grocery shop. A simple cost reduction might not be any better than spending more money on security if it doesn't help to protect the organization, says KPMG. So, honestly, there is a great British saying, says, I am not rich to buy cheap products. I keep giving this example. What is the best car? Let's say it's Ferrari. Okay, I'm gonna give you a free Ferrari, but you have to drive this Ferrari in a desert and you're responsible of the maintenance. Hold on. Ferrari, yes, it's a good car, but Ferrari is not designed for a desert. Is Ferrari the best car when it comes to desert environment? The answer is no. So, it's not what others think, what others propose. Please speak to your account manager and look into the details. What is the right product for you? Do POCs. Isn't that what you do when you buy shoes? When you go to a shoe store, Nike, Adidas, Puma, whatever, do you just grab any shoe, or you look around, then you try the shoe? Even though you know your size, the cut of the shoe might not fit your shoe size. You test it in the store before you buy it. Same when you buy cars. Don't you do a test drive? So why not do the same thing when you buy a security product? And my recommendation is, doesn't matter who is trying to sell you, if it's Exitium, Microsoft, Cisco, whatever, please see how this product works in your environment. If this product integrates with your other applications. Let's say you want to buy, I'm going to give you a very simple example. You want to buy SIM. So instead of getting a SIM which has connectivity issues, why not have something which is integrated to the product suite that you have, such as Sentinel? Again, example, I'm not here to talk about Microsoft products. Honestly, I'm not the expert to talk about Microsoft products, but I'm just trying to tell you there might be some benefits depending on your environment to use integrated or products that you know it's not going to create any issues. What else? We have to look at the factors that affect cybersecurity cost. And it all depends. It's really not that easy to tell. To not get COVID, you get get vaccination, put mask, keep social distance. Okay, but how is this possible? Is it really that easy? Yes, it is easier, but you saw the solution was simple, but the world was divided into two. Some were blaming someone to have chips installed in our bodies. By the way, I'm vaccinated 5 times. Some were keenly getting vaccinated, such as myself, and some were against it. So it's not that simple. When it comes to factors that affect cybersecurity cost, we have to look at the industry, company size, impact of a breach, and of course inefficient security as well. So the industry, if you're banking, you have to deal with lots of regulations. You have to have auditors. If you're healthcare, again, you have different ones. If you're a small business, different. So your industry size is going to determine how you're going to spend your money. Your industry vector, sorry, not size. Then your company size. As I said, like if you're earning minimum wage and you need to buy a car, again, Ferrari is a bad one because you cannot afford it. As a result, you'll be bankrupt. You might get a bank loan, but you have to use the right tool which fits your into environment. Let's say you're a small business and you are after E5, but you cannot afford Microsoft 365 E5. No problem. There is a small business edition as well, which is customized for small business, which gives everything what you need as a small business. Impact of the breach. I mean, unfortunately, more than 60% of the small to medium sized organizations are getting bankrupt after 6 months of a cyber incident. I was talking about a few minutes ago, a company getting breached, paying millions of dollars as ransom. What if we cannot afford it? So, please, assume breach. You might get hacked any second, no problem. But if you just follow the basics, have proper backups, have up-to-date computing system, create a cyber security culture which everybody contributes to security, I can assure you, you're going to be a step ahead of securing yourself. And of course, the inefficient security which I just mentioned. More product will not make you more secure. So that's why please focus on what you need to protect. You are a CISO. You are a security manager. You are an IT manager. Look around. Yes, I know. When you go to Carrefour, Walmart, or whatever food chain you have, grocery shop you have, do you buy everything what you see? Or usually you buy what you need? Please, only focus on what you need, which is gonna make you more secure. Please, only focus on stuff that is fitting your budget, because it is really important that protecting against cyber threats will make your business to continue, but not defining a right scope is gonna lead you to somewhere wrong. So let's assume you are somewhere, let's say in South Africa, and you don't know where you are. You use GPS to drive. If you put the wrong destination, of course it's gonna take you to the wrong place. So set up your destination right. And to build, to optimize, to save, it has to start with a consolidated security architecture. To save money, you have to know what you have. Same when you buy a car, you have to know your budget. Maybe you can't even afford a car, you might have to get public transport. Or maybe you live in Singapore, which is really expensive to buy a car, so you might want to use Uber or public transport, which is great. Or you might be in Hong Kong, which traffic is crazy, so why not use public transport? So even you can afford, why not save time? So I'm just trying to give these non-technical examples, which hopefully is going to give you the idea how you can optimize your cost. But to be able to optimize the cost, you have to identify the common source of cybersecurity overspend. So where is your budget going? Is it the right spending? Does it fit the best practices? Like, yes, it's good to follow some cybersecurity frameworks such as ISO 27001. Let's assume you don't have the budget to get an auditor to come in. Just still purchase the standards and follow the standards without getting an external auditor. Or use the NIST framework. So some proven best practices can help you. If not, look, you cannot do everything. Let's say you live alone and you cannot cook. There is two options. You either learn cooking, two options. You buy ready food or you go to a restaurant. This could be fast food or not. So partner with security professionals. Partner with organizations. If you don't know how to deploy Azure with Zero Trust, use Microsoft services or use a Microsoft partner. If you don't know how to use OpenEDR, then buy different EDR product or hire someone for a short time to help you to implement it. Besides that, deploy a consolidated security suite based on EY, I think it was. An average company, they have more than 50 security suites. Do you really need this? You have to learn to do more with less. You can use, for example, the Microsoft security portfolio, which will help you, or any other security portfolio, right? Which offers you an array of standalone security solution. But it's, you should be away from standalone security solution. You should have a consolidated security architecture that can eliminate the ineffectiveness of overlapping security solutions, and more importantly, unused or underutilized security. Zero Trust is the best when it comes to security. Why? You don't trust anybody. You always verify. Okay, you work in a 50 years organization, which I call dinosaur. You still have some legacy applications. No problem. Utilize the cloud. Create a green zone and create defense in depth. So move your most important assets to the cloud to protect yourself, to protect the organizations, to protect your environment. So it is not impossible to create Zero Trust. Zero Trust is becoming a must in this changing cybersecurity landscape. Next is to automate and delayer your security processes where possible. What do I mean with layer security? I mean, when it comes to security, it's really important to remove the obstacle between what you need to do and the stuff which is creating obstacle. But it does not remove the necessity of building defense in depth. Basically, having some layers between the assets that you need to protect most and the assets which might have less value. When it comes to layer security, you should think this as one. Where possible, you should utilize operating system security. Let's take Windows 10 or Windows 11 PC as example. Windows 10 and 11 comes with hardware layer security. It has core security, it has virtualization security, it has TPM chips. Then in Windows layer, it has some features such as BitLocker, such as App Locker, such as credential theft mitigation methods, and so on. On top of this, you can add other securities such as anti-malware, antivirus, or firewall, of course, which also comes embedded into Windows. You can utilize this or any other product that you wish or that you have in your organization. Once you go out of your PC, you might or you should implement some network security, IDSs, IPSs, and maybe some firewall, hardware firewall or firewall, network layer firewall for layer 2, for layer 3 to add the necessary security. And this should have an automated layer. For example, you should not just depend in your endpoint for signature-based behavior, signature-based protection. You should have also behavior protection. You should have, where possible, real-time protection, which can help you to build primary defense. And of course, patching. With Windows 11, auto patch, this could be hopefully fixing some ransomware issues based on unpatched systems. So how is this going to help you to utilize your budget? Combining this, utilizing what you have, might help you to remove the need of overlap software. And remember, we spoke a little bit about this. You need to develop project rationalization to avoid an abundance of overlapping or underutilized solution. In the previous slide, we talked about how you can utilize Windows together with your additional security. Again, we covered this earlier. Unfortunately, as of 2022, organizations still use more than 65 security products to be more secure. Remember, this is not going to make you more secure. Each additional layer of security is going to add obstacle. You need to know the product. You need to patch the product. Each additional agent might collect different information, might have write permission, depends on what kind of agent you use. And combining all this, collate them in one place might create troubles. What else? You should migrate your backup and your disaster recovery strategy to cloud. You should utilize what you have, and for that Microsoft has some great solutions which you can just click into the highlighted area and read it later when you download the slides. Of course, this is a Microsoft Security Hour session and I'm talking about Microsoft products, but you can use any other product as long as your backup solutions give you the best recovery options. Don't forget, it is not about backing up. It's about to recover when you need to in case of incident. Backup has to be easy, but more importantly, recovery has to be easier. Backup should cover A to Z, but more importantly, you should be able to depend into it. You should be able to test it. And you should not just rely on SAN, storage area networks, where hackers usually know that if you have a backup, they cannot demand for ransomware payment, so they will try to break your backups as well. So as a solution, a backup as a solution, your backup should give you multiple versions where you can go back depending on the versioning. And if it's gonna cost you a bit more to have this feature, then saving money is not the right optimization method here. So don't try to save money on stuff that you need. Remember, you are not rich to buy cheap stuff. What else? You should reassess your delivery of the key metrics. I mean, in an ideal world, the CISO should report to the CEO or board of directors. Doesn't matter where the CISO reports or the security manager reports, it's important that whatever you report has to be based on process data. The level of threat exposure has to be making sense to non-technical people. In most cases, the board of the directors, I assume you don't work on a non-technology company, and you might have to tell them the story which is gonna make sense to them. So, does really your CEO or board of directors care how many vulnerabilities you have? Or do they care the impacts of the vulnerabilities to the business? How a 0-day or how a cyber attack can cause loss of trust between your shareholders, between your customers, between your co-workers. And more importantly, you should, depending on the organization, align this story with regulations. I can give you an example. I think a few years back, British Airlines had a small cyber incident. More than 1,000 of their frequent flyers were affected with that incident. And British Airways did not comply with the GDPR rules. And for 1,000 users, they had to pay more than $250 million as fine to GDPR. Remember? Or we didn't talk about it, but as some of you do know, GDPR can charge up to 4% of your revenue as penalty. 1,000 users affected, $250 million fine. So, the story that you are giving to your board can be strengthened with the regularity as well. And for that, I have a great article in my blog, erdaloskaya.com. The URL is right there. You can click and read it later if you want to learn more details. What else? You need to transition repetitive tasks to third-party service providers, or you have to automate it. So, if there is lots of tasks that keeps repeating, as I said a few seconds ago, what is the point of keep doing that? Where possible, automate it. Where possible, maybe you can find a third-party service which can provide you the same solution for cheaper. Alright. There is also a great article which I wanted to share with you from Gartner. You can go ahead and read this later, but I took the highlight of this article and I want to quickly share some stuff from this article where you can go read later the details. 82% of the security and risk leaders do not account for environmental or business impacts when developing budgets. It means you have to operate in a way that you have to know what your business knows, what will happen if a cybersecurity incident happens, and more importantly, how you can optimize this budget. For that, Gartner recommends 5 steps. 1. Identify your crisis space and know what action you will take. So, if you get hacked, what is going to happen? How can you respond to this? Do you have an incident response plan? Do you know who to reach out? Do you know how to communicate with media? Do you know how to communicate with regulators? Remember? Have the assume breach mentality. 2. Equip yourself with data for decision making. While you, as a CISO, when you get the role or when you are granting the role, try to know what is in your environment. Try to know what you have, what you need to protect, how you can protect. And if a decision needs to be taken, how you can take it in the most efficient way. 3. Build adaptable and realistic budget scenarios. It's like going to the grocery store, as I said earlier. You cannot buy everything what you see. Most of the time, you will have a shopping list and you go based on the list or based on what you need. Sometimes, even if you have the budget to buy everything what you want, you might not have the storage, or you might not have to use all what you buy. As an example, the 65 products that people buy, organizations buy to secure themselves, are they really needed? Are they really helping you? What else? Align based on business unit value, risk and cost. Not every business unit has the same priority in every organization. It all depends. If you are a software vendor, your development team is, in my opinion, the most important team. They are the ones who building the software, then your sales team. If you're an energy company, your SCADA systems are the most important stuff. If you're an architecture company, your designs. If you're a marketing company, the data. So you know your business the best. Know what kind of business you are in, and know the value of you need to protect. Combine it to risk management and try to save cost based on this. Take a portfolio view of cost optimization. So optimizing cost is not always saving money, or optimizing cost is not always spending as much as you can. Remember the KPMG recommendation? So try to align with having a portfolio view, which hopefully is going to help you to save cost. Okay, now we talked about the threats, we talked about some recommendations. You might ask, Dr. Ozkaya, how can I determine my security budget? Alright, let's have some recommendations, some tips here as well. Before I even start, I want you to repeat one thing with me. Are you ready? Security is a process, not a product. Then, I think everybody agrees now. Cybersecurity is essential to any business. Based on National Cybersecurity Alliance, 60% of small businesses go out of business, small companies go out of business within 6 months after cyber breach. Cyber breaches, as you all know, cost lots of money. It all depends on the size of the organization, on your critical infrastructure, on the attack type, on what was stolen, on how you set up your architecture. One thing will change, those are the figures, but one thing will never ever change, the possible impact on your organization, on you, and on your co-workers. Just imagine you are hacked. I know this is not the best imagination to have, but what will be the impact? Just imagine you have New York Times or Singapore News or Hong Kong Times in your hand and put your organization, Dr. Erdal Ozkaya hacked. What will be the impact in you? Think about it. Now, think on how you can avoid this. Okay, if you cannot avoid it, think on how you can minimize this. Now, think what you need to minimize this. Think how you can have, like, let's say you have $10 budget. And you need to live with that $10 for 1 week. You can go spend that $10 in one restaurant and finish it off, or you can utilize the $10 as much as you can to spread through 10 days. It's up to you how you spend the $10, and of course it's just an example, the figure, but it is really important to understand the budget and how you can utilize the max out of it to be more secure. In other words, you have to learn to do more with less. But how? How can you do more with less? Microsoft has some great recommendations. I started my slide deck for find the right stuff. Hire smart people, and hopefully you don't have to tell them what to do. They will know what to do, as long as you train them on your environment. I keep telling this, look, you could be the best heart surgeon. If you and I are an island and I get heart attack, all what you can do is probably heart massage. You will need the tools to get me better. Cybersecurity is like that. You need the right tools to stay secure. You need the right tools to work efficiently. What else? You have to create a cybersecurity culture. Remember, we talked about that. It's your job as cybersecurity leaders or technology leader to create a culture where everybody contributes towards security. Where possible, you have to prevent breaches. You have to assume breach. And assuming breach, hopefully, it's going to help you to practice, at least in tabletop, what you need to do, how you can do. And hopefully this is going to help you to save money. You need to free up time, energy with automated end-to-end defenses. Automated end-to-end defenses. Automated doesn't eliminate the need of human, but it leverages the human. So try to do that where possible. Not just me, this is Microsoft. Microsoft highly recommends you to get proactive to block phishing attempts. Unfortunately, most of the cyber attacks still start with phishing. Discover where you stand and what to do next. Where you stand is the current state. What to do next is what you learn from the current state, looking at the back. Remember, I started my slide deck of looking at the back. I really don't care if you like your next door neighbor. What you care is if there is a fire in your next door neighbor, you better go and help them. Why? The fire might jump to your building quicker than you think. That's, in cybersecurity terms, you don't have to love your co-worker. You have to respect them because you're on the same boat. And the final recommendation from Microsoft is keep training your team. Yeah, what if you train them and they leave? What if you don't train them and they don't leave? It's a famous myth from the internet, right? Which I'm pretty sure you came across before. What else? How does Microsoft Security partners enable customers to accomplish more with less? First of all, try to simplify your vendor management. Remember, you don't have to have lots of vendors. Microsoft gives you up to 50 product categories. It will eliminate redundant capabilities. It will consolidate the number of contracts to manage, and it will cut third-party consulting and deployment costs. Don't underestimate the third-party consulting and deployment costs. And do not hesitate to pay where you need to. If you need to buy a car and you have no clue of car, second-hand car, get a mechanic, pay them some money, let them inspect the car. Yes, this might cost you a little bit money, but this can save you lots of money going forward, especially if the mechanic finds issues in the car which was hidden from you, so they can get rid of the car. Think about that. What else? Reduce threats with AI and automation. You need to detect and respond faster. I love this example. Let's assume you are a SOC analyst which had a bad day with your partner, and while you're driving to the office, on top of it, you had an accident, the bus or your car or whatever, or you had a bad day and you are at night shift. While you work there, let's say incidents happen. If you cannot focus on your job, most probably you would miss that incident if you just rely on a human. That's why we need AI. AI with human support will make things better. You should protect and of course govern your sensitive data. That's another recommendation, and that's very clear. You should manage and govern your on-premises, multi-cloud, software service data. Don't forget, you share security responsibility even if you use cloud. With software service, yes, the software security responsibility is at Microsoft, for example, if you're using Office 365 or Microsoft 365. But don't forget, setting it right is your responsibility. So that's why you should improve compliance, monitoring, remediation. You should utilize the potential risk activities. And if you use Microsoft Azure, for example, one of my most favorite feature is risky login behavior. They send you an email straight away warning you that there was a risky login behavior with the location, IP address, and if the user is compromised, recovery steps. If not, double check steps. What else? Microsoft partners can enable you to improve operational efficiency. It will help you to increase SecOps efficiency with a unified SIEM and XDR experience. It will help you to secure across your multi-phase digital landscape and connected world. Protect against breaches with deeply integrated solutions that secure identities, devices, apps, and data. I don't know if you noticed, identities, device, app, and data. It is really not important what you use, where you use it. As long as you can secure the identities, apps, and data. Improve visibility across identities and endpoints. If you cannot build a SOC, you use an MDR, XDR, which gives you this opportunity, which gives you what you need. The first step in determining your cybersecurity budget is, as I mentioned earlier, to narrow your focus. You should have some goals, more importantly, these goals should help you to build your budget. You should know where you need to invest, and to that, you should know what you have. As I mentioned again earlier, you should situate your company within the larger picture. You have to identify the points of return. You have to educate the team. You have to create cyber awareness program and measure the security so you can create the KPI and report it to the board. A successful cybersecurity budget is one that's created with prioritization, communication, and realistic expectation in mind. You will see a small figure there, how you can create cybersecurity budget. Based on EY, if I'm not wrong, companies spend between 5 to 20% of their budget on cybersecurity, which averages up to $1,200 per employee. Honestly, I don't know if this calculation is right, but I still wanted to share it as a footnote for you to help you to picture how you can build your budget. With this, we're coming to the end. I hope you enjoyed the session. If you have any questions, I will be here to answer your questions. And of course, please keep in touch. These are my contact details. You can tweet about the session if you want to, and let's stay connected. Thank you again for joining us today. And please let us know your thoughts about the session via completing a short survey, which is right below. Don't forget also to check out your upcoming Microsoft Security Hour. There is going to be another expert like myself giving you some free tips. Where possible, go watch the earlier sessions as well. Remember, not everything costs money. And these kinds of sessions are there to help you. Now, let's get to the QA. If you have any questions, I'm here waiting for your questions. Thank you very much again. Please keep in touch and thank you for listening.